I hope you've taken the time to take your stories and then put them into the first two steps of the formula, the incident and the point. Now we're getting to the third step. The third step in the storytelling process is probably one of the reasons why most people don't storytell. And they don't storytell because they don't know what it is. And they don't know how to tell stories effectively. Because to make a story effective, and not just entertaining or engaging, to make it effective, you need the third step. And the third step is linking. And this is where you make the story relevant to the person that you're talking to. Often people don't storytell because they don't know how to make the story relevant, and they think in their own heads, I shouldn't storytell because it's not relevant. Storytelling is not relevant in my line of work, it's not relevant in my profession. So that kind of excuse that we all use as to why we don't storytell is simply because we don't know what the third step is. And storytelling only becomes powerful when you've got all three steps. You've got the incident that's set up well, who, what, where, when, Vax, bring the characters to life, keep it within 2 to 3 minutes, and then you've got a good point to the story. You have to then be able to link the story and make it relevant to the person you're sharing the story with. And the statement I'm going to make here is that when you learn how to link, what this means is that you can take any story you have in your life and almost use it in any situation. Now I say almost, because it's like those bacteria killing sprays you can get. 99.9999999% of germs get killed when you use this spray. I'm going to use that same stat because there are times on the off chance you can't link a certain story to a certain situation. However, when you learn linking, you'll be able to link pretty much any story to pretty much any situation. Now, before you learn how to link any story to any situation, you have to learn, first of all, how to link one word to another first. So we'll start with something simple. We'll say the word, we say life is like, and let's say we named a random fruit. Let's say we just said life is like, we won't say lemons because that's too easy. We'll say life is like a pineapple. Life is like a pineapple. And when you look at this, that doesn't really make sense, does it? No, it doesn't make sense. I mean, what do you mean life is like a pineapple? And the reason this doesn't make sense is because you're trying to make a direct connection between the word life and pineapple. And when you're trying to make a direct connection, it doesn't work. So what we do is we make an indirect connection. And what you have to do there first is you have to get rid of the word life. And now just think of what words symbolize a pineapple. What words symbolize a pineapple? And start to brainstorm a list of words that could symbolize pineapple. So for me now, I'll just use magic to get it on screen. Not sure why it sounds like thunder. Actually, I do know why. It's because my favorite Avenger is Thor. Seriously, Thor is the best Avenger out of all the Avengers. But back to what we're saying here. These are the words that could symbolize pineapple. Now, let's just quickly go through them. Hard exterior, sweet, yellow, spiky, brown, sour, hard, delicious, soft, juice, rotten, death. Death because if it falls on your head, then I believe you're pretty much dead. Pizza, painful, must have pineapple on pizzas, by the way. Hashtag team pineapple pizza. And then fried rice, ripe, smells nice, decoration, vitamin C, tropical, and peel. These are the words that I've come up with. Now, what you do, once you have all the words that could symbolize pineapple, and again, if I spent more time, there would be more, but what you do is now you bring back the word life. And remember, while before, when we tried to make a direct connection from life to pineapple, it didn't really work. So what we do now is we create an indirect connection. So what you do is you look at these list of words and you go, well, which one of these words down here connect with the word life? And all of a sudden, quite a few, right? Sweet, sour, the obvious ones, the hard exterior, maybe spiky, juice, you've got ripe, maybe even rotten, maybe even painful, maybe even peel. And all of a sudden now I can connect the word life to sweet, life to sour, life to spiky, life to juice. You get the point. And I can link these indirect connections from life now to pineapple. And what I can say now is this. I can say, well, life is kind of like a pineapple when you really think about it. Because you have to peel back the hard exterior, peel back the spiky stuff before you get to the good stuff, before you get to the sweet stuff. before you get to the juice. But you know, life isn't always just sweet. Life is sometimes sour as well. And you can't just have the sweet without the sour. You're going to have both. That's life. And you've got to remember to live and be present and enjoy life, because like a pineapple, life does rot eventually. And it's going to be a painful experience as you regret. So make sure you enjoy life while it's ripe and don't wait till it rots and it passes you by. And just like that, I've kind of made life and pineapple make sense. It kind of makes sense now. Now we use the exact same strategy when we are linking a story to a situation. So let's say, for example, right now we're going to use the story of How I Met My Wife. How I Met My Wife, it's the pay-when story. The pay-when story is like, and we'll come up with the topic in just a moment, but the pay-when story is like, what we simply do here is the same thing. We just look at the pay-when story and we think about the words that could symbolize that story. So let's come up with a few words that could symbolize the story of How I Met My Wife. Ready for the thunder? Heimdall, I know you can see me. Get me out of here. I've been recording in this online course studio for the last 3 weeks. Damn it. I wish Asgard was real. Damn it. Damn it. But you see, back to what we're saying here. When it comes to storytelling, you have to come up with a bunch of words. And I've come up with these words here. So far, I've got courage, tricks, fail, cards, queens and kings, awkward, cheesy, funny, love, sassy, second chances, persistent, strong woman, approaching girls, rejection, authentic, and gimmicks. And you see, these are the words I came up with. And if I spent more time, again, I could come up with a bigger list of words. And the bigger the list of words, the more opportunities I can link the story into different situations. But we're just going to stick with this list for now. And let's say I wanted to use this story to open like a sales conference. I recently spoke at a sales conference in Australia. And let's say I wanted to use that story to link to sales. And again, if I make the direct connection, there is no real direct connection. You go, how is that story relevant to sales? But once I come up with this list of words, now instead of making a direct connection, I can make indirect connections. Because when you think about it, which words down here link to sales? Quite a few of them, I think. I think courage, fail, I think tricks, I think awkward, I think cheesy. There's also second chances. There's persistence, rejection, gimmicks, authentic. You know, approach, the word approach. All these words here could symbolize and connect with sales. So for example, imagine I told the story. You know, I won't bore you with the story again, but I'll just do the end of the story. I went to the bar 4 times in a row, again and again and again and again, and then she was there. And then this time I left the cards behind and I walked up to her and I said, would you be impressed if I transformed myself into a real man, took you out for a coffee? And she said yes, she said yes. And now we're married, we've got a beautiful baby boy together and his name is Xander. Look, why do I tell you this story at a sales conference? I tell you this story because sales is very much like How I Met My Wife. There are times when you're going to fail and you're going to get rejected, but you have to be persistent and try again. Because maybe they're not saying no to you, maybe she's just saying, or maybe the customer is just saying no to your approach. Maybe they're just saying no to your approach. So what we need to do is we need to learn how to leave the tricks behind, leave the sales tricks and the sales tactics, leave the sales gimmicks behind, and let's learn how to show up as our authentic selves. In the next 30 minutes, I want to share with you 3 new ways you can change your approach when it comes to sales. Now, you see, I could lead into that particular sales training session with that story, which is engaging, it's humorous, and people form a deeper connection with me. I could lead in with that, or, hi everyone, let's talk about the 3 ways in which we can change our approach to sales. Which one was more engaging? One, I humanize myself, I connect with the audience, they connect with me, now we care about each other, now they're going to care about the content. The other one, I'm immediately going into content. Can you see again which is more powerful? Storytelling is the way that is just way more effective and more influential. And I'll say this once again, people who don't learn how to do this, people who don't take the time to do this with their stories, don't storytell. And if they do storytell, it's boring. We all have someone like this in our lives. Maybe it's a friend or a colleague. Maybe they work with you. Maybe they have a mullet. Maybe they grow things you can't grow, like a stupid beard. Maybe right now, they're wondering if it's them. You know what, Craig? It's you. It's you. You're boring. There, I've said it. And now it's out there. And get a haircut. Just kidding. But this is why speakers you often find will use the same story when they're on stage, but they can use the same story in many different situations. So once you've polished up the story and you've got a really strong and engaging story, you can use that same story for many different situations, Now I want to share with you one of my students' storytelling. You see this particular student of mine, his name is Brad Green, who's a very high-level executive at a company in the US. And he was kind of resistant to storytelling in the beginning. He wasn't, yes, I know linking, but can you really link any story to any situation? And I want you to see him do what he does here at a conference with thousands of his people in the audience. And he links a story about his daughter picking her nose to linking it to culture. And right now, as you hear that, you're probably thinking there's no way you can link a story about your daughter picking her nose to culture. But watch him do this. This just proves that if you go through this process, you literally can link any story to almost any situation. Brad does such a great job here. And I want you to listen out for him bringing the characters, the voices to life. And listen for the point line. The reason I'm telling you this is because it has all the ingredients. Check this out. But before you do, I gotta
I want to tell you a story. About 3 years ago, I was making dinner, cooking in the kitchen. My daughter comes in and she has a burning question. And she says, "Daddy, when you were a kid, did you pick your nose?" And so I was a little conflicted. Because on one hand, I want to tell her the truth, but on the other hand, I want to set her up for success in life. And so I say, "Hey, sweetie, yes, as a kid, I did pick my nose. But what I've learned is that it's important to use a tissue instead because it's sanitary and I'm not going to offend anybody by picking my nose in public." But she has another question. She says, "Daddy, when you were a kid and you picked your boogers, did you eat your boogers?" So again, I'm a little conflicted. But again, I said, "Yeah, baby, I probably did eat my boogers as a kid. But I've learned it's better to use a tissue, and that's what I want you to do." I thought we were done, but she has another question. "Daddy, do you want to see me eat my boogers?" No? "Baby, use a tissue." She's progressed. She's now 3 years older and is into burping contests. I'm telling you this story because what she was really asking is, what's the right way for me to behave? What's the acceptable way for me to behave in this world? And that's what I want to spend just a little bit of time thinking about. The organizer spent some really good time explaining the code of conduct, which is kind of like the backstop for bad behavior, but that's not what we're after. But let's keep imagining, what if you were one of these people who got welcomed, and as you grew in expertise and connections in the community, you were able to welcome that next set of folks coming in? How would that feel? Pretty good. And that's what we're after. And largely that's what we see.
And welcome back. You see, in that example, Brad had all the ingredients of a great story. He brought the characters to life. His daughter, he did the voice. He used the sentence for the point. The reason I'm telling you this is because, and then he went into the linking. And the word that he used to link was the word behavior. He wrote the story, daughter picking nose story, and then he wrote down all of the words it could symbolize, and he used one word, and the word was behavior. And he used the word behavior to link that story into talking about culture. This is an exceptionally powerful process. This is a big secret that a lot of keynote speakers use. It doesn't have to be a secret, and you don't have to be a keynote speaker to use this. This is a superpower if you learn how to do this masterfully. And here's the great thing. If you make the decision to learn this skill and build on this skill set now, it's going to serve you for the remainder of your life, regardless of what career you move into. Take this skill set as a skill set that helps separate you from the rest as you move forward in the future. Learn it once now, master it, and it serves you for the remainder of your life.